Hello, Nardette here with another daily flip. Daily flip number 23. Today we're going to be talking about tricks that I have a hard time doing, and then tricks that I had a hard time learning in the first place. So, just want to start by saying that every flipper is a little bit different, agility-wise, personality-wise, taste-wise. Every flipper has different way to learn tricks, different affinities, different assets, different skills. So different backgrounds. Basically, some stuff is easier for some people, right? Like for me, aerials, I learned juggling really young. Like I could juggle 3-4 balls, and basically, so aerials and stuff that go, in the air, to me, it was always a little bit easier. And it was just my style. But when I first started, I could not learn how to scissor. For some reason, the motion of aerial and then spinning it and catching it, I just couldn't do it. Couldn't get my head around it. Even when I first learned, I didn't learn it correctly. I learned it the cheap way, which basically a scissoring is full twirl, and then you add an aerial, and then you complete the full twirl when you catch it with a scoop, right? You scoop it like that, right? This is proper scissoring, but I was doing it just catching it with my fingers like this. I was doing it like this, right? Instead of completing, I just did the scooping motion, but didn't fully go to the this position. I would just keep it like this. Right? So scissoring was the first one. I think it took me a good year to learn. Even like shortstop. So shortstop to me, I would do with an aerial. Right? I would pop it and I catch it, and I still do that like that. And honestly, you're not supposed to really leave your hand. And I can do it. I've learned it many years later. I've learned how to do a shortstop, and I still can't do it like first try. Just struggle with it. Alright, there you go. So, I procrastinated learning the shortstop because I could never get rid of the aerial. And nowadays, I still do with the aerial because I find that if I try to do a normal one, I probably will fuck it up in a combo, and I'll ruin the combo. Another hard one that I learned was the double scissor. So the double scissor to me, it's lost the value and the fun of it, because if you don't practice it and you don't do it a lot, you kind of lose it, and it's just not fun. I always cut myself every time I do it because there's so many things that can go wrong, right? The timing needs to be so precise, and you need to keep practicing it in order to not forget how to do it. And I just, like any trick really, but I just lost my need to do double scissors because I just hate the trick so much, and it's overdone. So as a standalone trick, I just don't do it anymore, just because for me. Another one that I kind of struggled with was chaplain to aerial. So right, so basically aerial to chaplain was an easy one, right? But chaplain to aerial like that, where you're popping it up, you gotta speed it up a little bit, and then when the chaplain is at its highest point, you're supposed to flick it, and then it just completes the turn, and you catch it in the open position. Jesus fuck. Right, so Jesus Christ. There you go. So that took me a while to learn as well. I just couldn't figure out how to do that with control. And it's all about trial and error, right? When you're learning tricks, sometimes you have to watch a tutorial, or sometimes you just watch other people flip, and then you learn. You kind of slow down, or you try to understand the physics behind it, because you need to figure out how the physics and how to manipulate the knife to do whatever certain trick. It's all about trial and error. Always better if I do it like this, or if I grab, you know, a bit more towards the back of the handle, if I grab more towards the pivots, basically everything, it's trial and error. So if one thing doesn't work, then, you know, like, the definition of insane is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, right? So basically that's just insanity. You got to try something different until you find what works, right? Another one I had struggled with was the cherry picker, and specifically just the middle finger 0G, like, well, not necessarily the beginning, right? But just adding that weird middle to 0G middle index roll, or middle finger roll to, right? So just adding that in a combo, that took me a while, right? Like that, just like that. What else? Big power aerials like the Meatgrinder. I guess, like, I just don't practice them enough. I only did them a couple times, I think, in my career, and it was just for the video. And then I find it so hard to catch it behind the back, right? Like, I know practice happens, but you always end up cutting yourself. It's rather do other stuff than try, like, the guillotine. The same thing, guillotine is fun too, but I always end up fucking up the throw and then catching it and cutting myself. So kind of tendency to not do it as much. I'm trying to think now, other tricks that I had a hard time learning. Oh, choker fan. So the choker fan, it took me a while to even get the physics behind the motion of it. So where the knife spins around itself, and I find I still can't really get a consistent end to it, right? I always fuck up the catching of it. Alright, and I can't do infinity chokers, and I can't do the Z chokers. Now, the Z choker, or the Z choker, I could probably learn it, but I just never sat down and actually learned it. Another one I struggled with was the ladder. Just never really, like, I remember spending the time trying to learn, and I'm just getting so frustrated. My pinky is actually fucked up. I broke my pinky, or I didn't break it, but I must have did something to it, but it's hard to see. But that's my regular pinky. That's my healthy pinky. But see, like it, so my pinky, I have all the range of motion. It's just that it's fat as fuck and it's crooked. So basically, when I'm doing pinky stuff, it's really frustrating. Really have a hard time doing it. So every time I did the ladder, where I had to start, basically the first motion is with the pinky. It really is frustrating. I can't do it. What else? So I think the XO is probably the hardest trick ever. So XO is a double Meatgrinder. So a Meatgrinder is when you throw like this and you catch it behind your back, right? So it's a behind the back aerial transfer, but the catch is what makes it hard, right? So the catch needs to be behind the back and blind, right? So like this, right? So XO is two like that. So you throw it behind your back like this, and then it transfers over and you catch both of them blind like this. So like that, right? So now and there, I think I did it twice. I think I've landed it twice before and it was never clean. I would love to see someone do a clean XO. If you do it, tag me. Slash, I want you to do it, man. Do a clean XO. Like, perfect catches. Both of them, boom, like that. Like, you know, no sloppage, catch them, boom, like that. I always struggled with doubles, right? I can't figure out how to do 2 different things at once with 2 different hands. That's a really tough one for me. Transfers too. Transfers, it took me years to just even start doing transfers and seeing the value of it in a routine. It was just, I've always been a twirler, an aerialist, and a one-hand man. So just gonna say that that's basically it. Like, I can do infinity rolls or 0G infinity rolls. They always fly out. I'm sure there's a lot more that I'm forgetting, but that's basically what comes to mind right now. Thanks for watching. Tomorrow will be another one. See you tomorrow. Peace.